The Gaza Strip is one of the most complicated, dense, and dangerous combat zones on Earth. Fighting thousands of Hamas terrorists in close-quarter combat above ground as well as below ground in over 300 miles of tunnels, the IDF is deploying some new, unique, and very unusual weapons to wipe out Hamas while avoiding both military and civilian casualties. A critical part of Hamas's tactics is to make sure their own civilians are harmed. Playing the victim and generating international pressure on Israel to cease fire allows Hamas to rearm and regroup. Israel realized that the inevitable Gaza war would require a lot of ground troops and that traditional ground forces equipment wouldn't cut it. They needed to give their soldiers new technology and capabilities. Here are 5 unusual weapons being used by Israel in the war in Gaza. Before we get into the video, if you are military, law enforcement, or are a civilian with a high level of tactical gear knowledge, you can apply to Agilite's gear testing program. Selected applicants receive product samples, videos, or questionnaires regarding gear or concepts still in development, free of charge. Click the link in the description below to apply. Now, back to the video. Number 5. Iron Sting. Mortars have been used in every ground war for over 100 years, but have always been a relatively primitive and inaccurate weapon. Knowing they'd be fighting terrorists who purposefully use civilian population centers as human shields, Israel thought ahead and developed the Iron Sting, a high-tech mortar system that uses technology to guide mortars only to designated targets. A first-of-its-kind system, it has both GPS and laser guiding systems. First put into service in 2022, it has already been used operationally in the Israel-Gaza war. Like having a mini air force that can operate from the ground rather than the air, the Iron Sting system carries a lethal payload and is proving to be effective against Hamas terrorists while avoiding civilian or friendly fire casualties. Number 4. Spike Firefly. The importance of drones in both combat and reconnaissance on the modern battlefield has become immense. But for the first time, IDF ground forces have also been deploying highly advanced micro-drone technology in Gaza. The Spike Firefly is a small kamikaze drone, part of the Spike family of missiles. The drone is armed with high-tech cameras and 350 grams of explosives. Its single-user operation means that one lone soldier can set up and launch the Firefly while gathering surveillance on a target, then arming the small drone and sending it off to detonate. Its small explosion can take out a room or a moving vehicle. Number 3. K0 Plate Carrier. Gaza is one of the most claustrophobic war zones on the planet, and below its surface lies an intricate network of tunnels, the Hamas leadership's bunkers, weapon stores, and underground rocket launch stations that span hundreds of miles. IDF Special Forces needed a plate carrier system that can do everything a regular plate carrier can do, but be way more compact and not impede the operator in extremely confined spaces. IDF special operators are required to do fast maneuvering between tunnels, tunnel shafts, ladders, armored vehicles, aircraft, and other confined spaces, all while conducting high-stakes missions including hostage rescue and high-value target assassinations. The K0 was developed not only with Israeli Tier 1 Special Forces, but in collaboration with the United States Special Operations units as well. It was the first plate carrier to be designed using deep data analytics and body mapping, and it carries several U.S. patents. It posed several challenges as it needed to have the same level of protection as regular plate carriers, as well as the ability to carry a wide array of weapons and technologies carried by Israel's Special Forces, but to be lower profile and not bulky or cumbersome. To complicate things further, the K0 is worn for days at a time, so it also needed to be incredibly comfortable. The result was a plate carrier that's barely bigger than a concealed one. It's significantly more comfortable than regular plate carriers and has tens of different configurations that can be changed by the user instantaneously. Number 2. Eitan Armored Personnel Carrier. When it comes to transporting troops safely in and out of Gaza, Israel has a vast array of armored personnel vehicles, but mainly uses the Namal and the brand new Eitan. The Namal took a very different approach to APCs, taking the chassis of the Merkava tanks and essentially creating a tank without a turret. With a great many benefits to this approach, also come some disadvantages. Israel knew that there was always room to evolve. The Eitan is this evolution. It was designed from the ground up by Israel, setting a new high bar for future armored vehicles. Its primary goal is the protection of soldiers, using the Iron Fist, a hard-kill active protection system. And unlike the Namel, the Eitan uses armored wheels instead of tracks, meaning it has greater traversal capabilities. The integration of the Eitan began in 2022, and it saw its first operational use in the 2023 Israel-Gaza war. It is set to switch out all of the IDF's older APCs, except for the Namel, due to its new capabilities and effectiveness. Number 1. Missiles Defense Systems. If we zoom out from ground operations, Israel has over 8 million citizens to protect because the continuing primary threat to Israel are missile attacks from both inside the Gaza Strip and Lebanon. Israel has developed and created one of the most secure missile defense systems in the world. It comprises 3 components: the Iron Dome, the Arrow, and David's Sling. The Iron Dome is the most famous of the 3, as it has been a tremendous success since it was launched in 2011. It protects Israeli citizens by intercepting and destroying short-range rockets and artillery shells fired from distances of 4 to 70 kilometers. The death and injury toll would have been unimaginable without its protection. The Arrow family of anti-ballistic missiles is of a unique breed, designed to be much faster, stronger, and more accurate. With its latest iteration of the family, the Arrow 3 can shoot further, faster, and more accurately, and hit harder than any of its previous versions. It can meet an incoming target in space, minimizing collateral damage, and even having the potential ability to destroy satellites. Its first operational use was on October 29, 2023, shooting down a missile fired from Yemen by the Iranian-backed Houthi terrorist group, the successful interception happening miles above the Earth's atmosphere. In over 5 years of Houthi rocket attacks on neighboring Saudi Arabia, the Saudis have never once conducted a successful intercept. David's Sling was developed as a response to both Hezbollah and Hamas's growing arsenal of missiles that might be able to reach almost anywhere in the country. Its use is not for long-distance threats, but for those that are just outside Israel's doorstep. In addition, Israel has added a 4th member to the missile defense family. In 2023, Israel approved the testing and operational conditions of the Iron Beam. The new defense system has already proven itself in many tests, taking out mortars, rockets, anti-tank missiles, and UAVs. The stuff of sci-fi movies, the advanced laser has exceeded expectations with its power and capabilities, while also being a lot cheaper. In comparison, the Iron Dome averages $80,000 per missile, while the estimation for the Iron Beam is just $5 per firing. It is important to remember that the IDF is one of the strongest and most advanced armies in the world. Even when it falters, it comes back stronger and better than before. In spite of all the weapons and equipment we have mentioned in this video, we've barely scratched the surface of the vast equipment and abilities that Israel has in its arsenal. For more videos on Israeli Special Forces and their gear, hit the subscribe button. And don't forget, if you are military, law enforcement, or are a civilian with a high level of tactical gear knowledge, you can apply to Agilite's gear testing program. Selected applicants receive product samples, videos, or questionnaires regarding gear or concepts still in development, free of charge. Click the link in the description below to apply.